Randy Lee Sellers was born on September 6, 1962. He was born to Wanda and John Cotton, and he had a younger brother, Tieran Renard, that was born in 1967. He is considered to have been from the Visalia, Morning View area of Kentucky. Randy was in alternative school at the time, and according to anecdotal evidence, he was considered one of the bad boys in his area. Randy was in and out of trouble most of his teen years, and the local cops were quite familiar with him. On August 15, 1980, Randy was at the Kenton County Fair in Independence, Kentucky, when he was arrested for disorderly conduct and public intoxication. Allegedly, he got into a fistfight with someone at the fair and the cops were called. The police believe that Randy was under the influence of drugs at the time and even struck one of the cops after he was put in the squad car. As the story goes, Randy was dropped off by the police about 1 mile from his family's home in Visalia. Some reports say that Randy provided unclear directions to the house, and others claim that the officers dropped him at the location as a favor to Randy. Either way, Randy never returned home and was never heard from again. A man named Jack Isles, an alleged friend of Randy's, stated that he was at the fair on the night of Randy's disappearance. In an article, he stated that he regretted not having offered Randy a ride home that night. He's quoted as having said, "I wish I could have told him to come on home. Let him go with me. I wish he was here. God honest truth with you." At first it was believed that Randy had drowned with his footprints near the Licking River, which hugs the Visalia area. The footprints matched a set of hiking boots owned by one of his relatives, and there were marks that someone may have slipped and fallen into the water. When authorities searched the river to find nothing, they then believed that the footprints were left by people searching for Randy. Many people believe that a man named Donald LeRoy Evans murdered Randy. Evans was a drifter that was eventually sentenced to death for the murder of a child in Mississippi. He claimed that he picked up Randy along Route 177, the main road in the Visalia area. Allegedly, he took Randy to Kincaid Lake State Park and shared a beer with him. Then he supposedly shot Randy in the head with a .45 and buried his body on that night in 1980. Evans also claimed to be responsible for other unsolved cases, including the death of Kimberly Dawn McClaskey. Evans was rather notorious for having preyed on people in rest areas and parks. One of the reasons why Evans was considered a possibility is because he confessed to the murder in Mississippi and led authorities to the body of the girl. He also confessed to a murder in Florida of a prostitute that was found in a hotel room. He told authorities details that led to a set of his prints. So at least twice over, he confessed to murders that were proven to be tied to him. Authorities searched Kincaid Lake State Park for Randy's body in 1994, 14 years after his disappearance, and nothing was found. Evans was never charged in the case, and police were not even sure if he was involved. His claims, though, were considered credible. Another one of the main reasons people believe that Evans may have been responsible was because he drew a crude yet accurate map of the park. When they went to search for Randy's body, there was nothing there. Evans initially stated he buried Randy 3 feet deep in the ground with some sheet metal that he found. Then later he changed his story to having sort of just covering Randy's body with some forest brush. There have been multiple searches in order to find Randy or even his body, yet none have turned up anything. In 2018, there was a search in March at the Kincaid Park where a rescue team's dogs picked up the alleged scent of a decaying body. Apparently, the area the scent was found matched the area that Donald Evans claimed to have buried Randy's body. There's a belief that the map Evans drew was potentially misinterpreted at first when they searched for Randy in the 90s. In the recent past, some people believed that reading the map in a different way or upside down could reveal more information and potentially find Randy, which to me personally does not prove that the map would be accurate in the first place. It is unknown what came of that search, if there was any dead body at all. In my personal opinion, I do not see how a body can still be decaying 38 years after the fact. Interestingly, the case was still considered open as of 2018. Randy's mother believes that her son hitched a ride with Evans to the park in hopes of seeing her since she was staying there with a friend at the time. As recently as 2019, Wanda Cotton has been reported stating that she believes that Evans killed her son. In 2019, she stated, "I believe in my heart that Randy was killed by Donald LeRoy Evans." She believes that Randy's body is somewhere in the park with a marker to remember him and another woman who was also killed. Randy's physical appearance is described as having been 5'9", 149 pounds, with brown hair and hazel eyes. Randy had a birthmark on the crown of his head, a scar above his left eye, and a surgical scar on his right knee. He had a scar on his left elbow from an old fracture. There was a tattoo of the letter R on his right forearm, though other sources stated that it was on a forearm. He may have had a crown on a tooth and wore a beard on his chin at the time of his disappearance. He was last seen wearing a black shirt, blue jeans, and work shoes. The reason I bring this up now, as opposed to the beginning of this, is that there's an interesting John Doe that seems to match that description. On the Doe network, there is John Doe 419 UMOK. He was found on April 9th, 1995 in Crowder, Oklahoma, next to a Jane Doe. The Jane Doe was estimated to have been 18 to 30 years old, 5'6", with long light brown, almost blonde-looking hair. Jane wore black denim size 10 pants, blue underwear, a red pullover shirt, white socks, and a white bra. She had 2 rings on her left hand, and one of a yellow metal band, the other of a single white stone. John Doe was estimated to have been about 20 to 30 years old, 5'7", with brown and light blonde hair, with a light brown mustache. He wore a green denim pair of pants, 3134s, black and white checkered briefs, a t-shirt, and a leather jacket. He had a ring on his left hand, a yellow metal band with 14K and TW inscribed on the inside. He also wore a watch that was still working at the time their bodies were found, though it was an hour behind the current time. Most interestingly is that this Doe had a tattoo of the letter R on his upper left forearm. He also had a tattoo of a cross on his upper left arm. Both bodies were found decomposing under a tree near Lake Eufaula and seem to have been dragged about 50 feet from a dirt road. Though it may seem far-fetched that this Doe may have been Randy, the tattoo was something I just could not omit. There are some interesting things I've come across with Randy's case, whether it be from online errors to just random things. The first thing is that on Randy's page for the Doe network, he's listed as female, and of course all other sites list him correctly as male. For some reason, the main photo used to show Randy's most recent appearance when he disappeared has black markings that make it look like he was wearing a black shirt. The full version of the photo is included on the Nameless profile for him, and it shows that he was shirtless. I know that this means nothing, but I can't understand why someone would Photoshop a fake shirt on a picture of him. Through reading about this case, I have not come across a lot of information on Randy's background. There's the info that he was in alternative school, and the anecdotal stories that he was a bit of a bad boy. There's a personal story on a post on Web Sleuths where someone said that Randy was pretty familiar with the cops, so the idea that they didn't know where his house was asinine. I haven't even heard anything about the night of the fair, and I am curious what the fight that Randy had was about. Was it just a drunken brawl, or was there a reason that he got into the fight other than being drunk? Who was the person he got into a fight with, and was it an adult or another teen? Was it perhaps someone related to a cop or a big official? And how long had Randy been in alternative school for, and what was the reason he was there exactly? Did he have a hard time with his family? And did he possibly ever talk about running away? I think it is important to look at a map of the area as a whole. The Visalia area is not that far from Ohio. I came across a couple of does that may be plausibly close to being Randy, though I'm fully aware that they might not be him. There have been 2 facial progressions of Randy, one in 2006 and another in 2011. I will be completely honest, and I think they are both terrible. The first one from 2006 is honestly terrible and does not look anything like him at all. The second one from 2011 is closer to his appearance, but it does not seem too accurate. Honestly, the whole situation reminds me of the Reet Jervison case, where the drawings of her when she was a Jane Doe were completely different from how she really looked. Personally, I think that Randy looked almost exactly like his father, down to the nose and hairline. I don't understand why they did not go with a progression based off of that. Unfortunately, on December 10th, 1990, Randy's younger brother, Tyron, committed suicide. He is buried at Mother of God Cemetery in Kentonville, Kentucky. There's still uncertainty as to what happened to Randy. Many people, like his mother, believed that he was murdered by Donald Evans. Despite looking for the body 14 years later, there has not been any evidence that Randy was buried in the park. Though at the same time too, a 14-year gap of looking for a body that may have been buried in a shallow grave leaves more than enough time to nature to naturally scatter the pieces. Others believe that Randy may have been killed by the police, potentially just tired of a juvenile delinquent, with rumors stating that police killed Randy and buried the body on the property of a policeman. Randy's parents, John and Wanda, are still alive today as of 2020. They are still looking for answers as to what happened to their son. In 2019, it was revealed that John had been diagnosed with cancer. The parents expressed their worry that after they eventually pass away, who would remember Randy? Fortunately, research teams and the press have shown that people are still thinking about Randy, even to this day.